to look outside. It's my partner, it's my job, it's my kids. And I know that you will agree with me on this. It doesn't mean that we are bad, wrong, broken. It means that something has happened that has created damage. I mean, people don't blame other people because they have cancer or a broken leg. It's like, it's no, this is something that's happened. And the question is, now that I know about it, will I do something with it?
Yeah. Absolutely. And we have one life, we have one beautiful life, and we deserve to live that life as free and as full of joy. This is what I believe, as we can do. And for me, I've only been able to get to this place by dealing with that trauma.
Well, and the truth of the matter is, I mean, and I'm sure you're very familiar with the book, The Body Keeps the Score, which is, and I can't think of, I can never remember the guy who wrote it. But our bodies remember. This is the thing that people need to understand. And whether it's physical illness or emotional challenges, it comes from the same place. It comes from this, something went haywire for whatever reason, and we're now dealing with the fallout from it. And the question is, are we going to look at this fallout and deal with it, head on and really work through it, as challenging and unpleasant as that can be at times? Or are we just going to be passive about it and let it continue through the generation?
Yeah. And yes, the book is by Bessel van der Kolk.
Thank you.
Yeah, and great book. And the other thing, I think, the important thing is that we're not going to think our way out of this either. I do think society, has, much more, idolizes intellect much more than anything else. But actually, all the trauma is stored in our body. We need to feel it. We need to feel those emotions, release those emotions. It's not an intellectual exercise. And I think that can make it seem a little bit, different. It's different. It's not the way we live our lives normally, is it? But if anybody's listening to this and thinking, maybe I've got some things I need to look at, I cannot encourage you enough to do it. I'm pretty sure you won't regret it.
Oh, yes. It's the hard. It's the hardest, best work that anybody can ever do. So, Philippa, can you tell people where they can learn more about you? How to work through this, all the wonderful things that you can share with people?
Yes, of course. Thank you for asking. So I have a podcast. I started a podcast beginning of 2021. It's called Meeting of Minds. And in the first 15 episodes I started off on a bit of a wrong tack and then I changed, but I talk a lot about my healing journey and the things that I learned, generational trauma and the mother wound, and a lot of things that I learned about that made sense to me and helped me understand my situation that I'd never ever heard of before. Because I figured that if I'd got to, by then I was like, my late 40s and not heard any of this stuff and understood it, other people might be in the same situation as me and might find it. So that's what I talk about in some of the episodes. And then I just talk about my journey generally. So that's Meeting of Minds. And I wrote a book. I wrote my memoir last year. So if any, more of my story than I've been able to talk about here is all written in my book, which is called I See Me, by Philippa Robinson. And it's available on Amazon.
Perfect. So what I want people to understand is that trauma is real for so many of us, and it has far-reaching impact. And as you've heard today, easy for me to say, the good news is that it can be healed. So no matter how long ago it happened or how bad it was, you can work through it, and you and your relationships will be better for doing the work. So the question is, what will get you to take action? And hopefully two of the things you'll do is, one, listen to Philippa's podcast, two, buy her book. And the third thing that I hope that you will do is to continue listening to this show. And until next week, stay loving.